Hello and welcome to Pointed Logic Tarot. Now before we get started, I want you to take some deep breaths with me. Take a deep breath in, breathe out and say, Black Lives Matter. Take a deep breath in, breathe out and say, Free Palestine. Take a deep breath in, breathe out and say, land back. Oh, that one didn't light. Ooh, we get to say land back again. Hold on. Take a deep breath in, breathe out and say land back. Okay, so I know some people, especially if you live in the so-called United States like I do, but because of my United States ego and because of world politics, I know folks not in the United States as well are a little bit stressed out this week. And I wanted to talk about it and respond to a really fab tarot tag called Tarot Grounding Plan. Now, I saw this tag over on Sapling Tarot's page first, but I believe it's originally from A Cup of Tarot, so I'm going to link both of those videos. Grab yourself a beverage and buckle in. I have here green tea with a little ginger in it. Good for energizing and for your immune system this time of year. I feel perpetually sick because I have a kiddo bringing germs home from daycare. Okay. So, while we talk about it, I'm going to flip through the deck, one of the decks I'm going to use today, which is the Spark and Pen Tarot. Shout out to Libby from Crescent Dreams Tarot for turning me onto this deck. It's from a tarot maker local to me, and I was like, I must snap that up. It's got beautiful backs. It's got linen finish, good shuffle, really colorful artwork. Some of it is more impressionist. It's a really clever deck. So, y'all are allowed to feel your feelings and grieve and be scared, but I just want to remind you not to stay there because there's work to do, and there was going to be work to do no matter the election results, because under the current administration, we are still fighting tooth and nail for Black lives, for land back, for Palestine, and we're not getting very far. This election changes a lot, and it changes nothing in many respects. I am a climate organizer, so I'm a little bit freaked out about what that means. But I will say also, so-called US has been really bad on climate anyway. So I don't know. Obviously, we'll never know what it would have been like if the election went the other way, and if we would have been able to get some more climate stuff done. But we're still going to have to do our best because whatever we can save is worth saving. So I'm going to put an image on the screen of, it's a really cool graphic that talks about the roles people in the world can play in building a better future. Just sort of play with those keywords, play with them in your journal, play with them in a tarot deck maybe. Where do you feel like you fit or feel strongest? And there's no right or wrong answer in there. I think personally the only wrong answer is spending all of your energy in a leftist debate on social media rather than getting real action done. And like, I've been in those leftist debates. I'm guilty of that. I'm not saying don't do that ever. I'm just saying we have a lot of work we can do together. I'm going to link one of my favorite organizers and some of my favorite organizing resources down below. There's definitely opportunities here in this scary time. And let me remind you, it was pretty scary this whole year. And then the last thing I want to say, and I know I'm feeling like I'm not trying to come off harsh or insensitive, and certainly not mean. But for folks who are devastated by the results and cannot understand why somebody would vote for such a racist, misogynist, like white supremacist, if you were Palestinian and saw people stepping over your family's bodies to vote for the current power bombing them and justifying it, you can see where people rationalize things and how justification happens. It's an empire, okay? We live in an empire in the United States here. We can work together to dismantle that. And we need to for the climate. We need to for folks marginalized by white supremacy, which, by the way, is bad for everybody, except maybe the few rich ones in power. The working class is in trouble from white supremacy too. And people voted in not their best interest sometimes because of that. So there's a few cards that you might have been like, hey, I didn't see those in the deck. And that's because I cheated and already pulled them out for the prompts. These are right here. But anyway, I'm just trying to say that there is plenty of things we can do in response to this. I don't want you to feel trapped or sink into despair and stay there. And if you want to talk about it, you can send me an email. I have my email, I think, in my about or somewhere. Or send me a message on Ko-fi, because I would love to help get you connected to organizing groups. And when I say organizing, I mean people organizing for causes that are incredibly important at a local, regional, statewide level. That is like, challenging the current carceral system. That is challenging the current food system. That is challenging all of those kind of things. I'm not, I feel like, speaking eloquently as I would like about this. And what I'll do is, to keep it in a tarot perspective, is I'll link the book by Elaine Smith. I'm not remembering the title. It's like 78. Hold on. Acts of Liberation, I think. Yeah, full title is 78 Acts of Liberation, Tarot to Transform Our World. So if you want to approach, how do we deal with this? If tarot is an approachable way for you to start, try that book. But there's also a therapist that I love online and I will find her content page and put that link in the description as well, who was sharing that what remains is a resilient, hopeful, scorched thing. So there is going to be something left, and I hope that's us, and I hope that we can collaborate across several frustrating ideologies to create real change and oppose the oligarchy. Okay, that's a whole lot of soapboxing for a tarot tag, but I felt like I couldn't not talk about this. Continue in the comments if you'd like. Okay, so tarot grounding plan. And you'll see I wrote Sapling Tarot, but like I said, I saw it on Sapling Tarot, but A Cup of Tarot did the first one. So you've got these categories of self-care: sleep, nutrition, hydration, medication, movement, solitude, socialization, stimulation, and fresh air. Think about these prompts. Take out a deck, go through your deck, and find cards with either meanings or imagery, a combination of the two, that fit with these themes. So I did that. For sleep, I chose the moon, both because of the meaning and because it's a nightscape image in this particular deck. And is frequently, I would say it, but not always, because the moon also often represents dreams, or that sort of cloudy, half asleep, half awake feeling, right? For nutrition, I chose temperance. Eat your greens, but also remember the moderation. Feed yourself nutritious food, but feed your soul comforting food too. Try and make them the same thing a lot of the time, but don't stress it too much. Everything in moderation. And I don't think I can fit all these in my frame here, so please excuse me. For hydration, I chose the Queen of Cups. Fill your cup. You have to fill your cup to help fill others. Rest is resistance too, okay? If you are burnt to crisp, what good can you offer your community? Make sure you take care of yourself. Hydrate. Medication, I chose the Two of Pentacles because it's kind of sometimes a tricky balance depending on what medication and stuff. And I'm not gonna tell you what meds you're supposed to be taking. I'm not a doctor. But I will say that oh man, what month? I think August this year. I was having all sorts of weird mystery health problems crop up and was feeling really down and exhausted to the point where I'm like, I need to take naps just to function. I'm having a hard time staying awake. And I was like, am I struggling with depression? What am I dealing with? I went to the doctor and I freaking was low on vitamins. I was anemic. And part of it is because I'm still breastfeeding my child and they're, taking all my nutrients. And I wasn't, my current postnatal vitamins weren't offering me enough of what I needed. So anyway, I got that sorted out and I felt a bajillion times better. So like, get your, make sure you're taking your prescribed medications. Don't skip that. Make sure you're, brushing your teeth. Like, medication is that very basic self-care need of health in my mind in this list. And it's a balance, and sometimes it feels off kilter. So that's why I chose the Two of Pentacles. For movement, I chose the Two of Wands because this person is booking it up a mountain, and that's a lot of work, physical activity. It's also a really neat card where you're starting something, and movement can feel like that, starting over again and again and again. Both in the sense of the word movement that is intended here, like exercise and getting out, walking, or whatever type of movement you are able and enjoy, but also movement in the movement sense of trying to get folks organized for a movement. That's challenging. It's hard to get started, and it feels like you go again and again and again. So let's embark. Solitude, I chose the Three of Wands. This is after the person has made it to the top, and they are solo here, and looking out across the landscape and getting a perspective that informs their future plans. Solitude is sometimes necessary. Now, don't isolate yourself. And if you feel isolated, I'm sorry, I know that's really hard, and I hope that you're able to find connection, because connection is a very critical human thing. For the next word, socialization, I chose the King of Cups, because this personality is a master of connections, and you want to make sure your socializing is supportive of others, but first and foremost fills you up and doesn't wear you down. Okay, for stimulation. Now, when Imogen talked about it on Sapling Tarot, they were saying mental stimulation. And I think mental stimulation is important, but I wanted to choose a card that was a little bit more flexible. It could be mental stimulation, but it is not necessarily. It is what type of self-care works for you. So I chose the Queen of Wands, and this person is holding a candle that's melting wax on them. So that's a physical feeling. But it's also the suit of creativity and creative stimulation, such as doing a tarot video like this is very beneficial to me. And then finally, fresh air is the last one. And I chose the Seven of Pentacles here. I am not certain that they're outside, but the picture felt like fresh air to me. And it looks almost like there's, grass, and they're out in like a field of sunflowers. So I chose it quite a bit for the imagery. But fresh air is a great place for you to use the Seven of Pentacles energy and think, assess, take a breath. So those are the cards I've chosen. And then what you do is you put them in here, or, you don't have to. You can do this without making notes, but I'm going to list the ones I've chosen. And then you take another deck. And if you only have one, I'm sure you could use the same deck, but I'm going to take another tarot deck and draw, where am I at with all of these topics? Where am I Where am I currently? Check in with myself. Excuse me. Check in with myself and be like, where am I at in these self-care areas? And it's okay if you're sort of shaky on some of them, because it's a stressful world out there. Okay, whoopsie, sliding around. Okay. So, I'm using the Lighted Window Tarot, which is a Pips with Feelings deck, to answer the where am I at portion of this. Look at the edges. This one is an indie deck. They're both indie. This one's on Etsy. This one, there's a shop I'll link to, the creator shop. Oops, upside down. It's color coded by suit. This is sort of too as well. Each suit has a color story. So I'm gonna give this a shuffle off camera so I don't blow away all of my choices here. And I would really love to hear in the comments, like, what is filling you up right now? If you're feeling a lot of feelings this week, or have been this past month leading up to just all of the destabilizing and stress, what has been filling you up? And I don't want the toxic positivity of everything's gonna be fine, like, don't worry, be happy. No, you can worry. I just don't want your whole life to be that. And I am somebody who really does struggle with anxiety and have had months where I'm like, I will never not be miserably anxious. So I know what that's like. And I got out of that through medication, therapy, lots of work, and just getting involved in my local community to try and make positive change. Like those different things, so I can put my kid to bed at night and say, look, I'm trying the best I can to give you a livable future. That's what keeps me going. Okay. So, sleep. How am I doing on sleep? And something I really liked about Imogen's video is Imogen would talk a little bit about how they felt they were doing and then get the card. And sometimes the cards were being real snarky. So I thought that was pretty funny. So I'm also going to be like, so sleep for me has been a mixed bag lately. I have been doing pretty good about getting to bed on time. I was struggling a lot there for a while where I'd get my child to bed and be like, I don't want to go to bed. I want to stay up and do my own fun thing. Almost like revenge staying awake. But then I was miserable. So I've been going to bed at a reasonable time. But I do still have a young child who wakes up in the middle of the night. So my sleep is frequently disrupted. So I feel like my sleep is quite a bit of a mixed bag right now. Okay. The world. Okay. That's pretty positive, I feel like. The world, with regards to sleep, is like I have gotten through the really, really challenging phase of a very young child. My kiddo is now older than a year and sleeping through the night generally. And I feel like that really hard phase that felt like it was never ending has come to an end, and we're on the new chapter. Okay, nutrition. Ooh, I'm not sure. Nutrition for me has been pretty solid. I make most of my meals at home. Oh no, this is, did I put these on not in order? Hold on, what's the order here? No, nutrition's next. I don't know what I'm talking about. At least the way I've written them down. Okay. Yeah, nutrition. Yeah, I've been like trying my best lately I know that with just the busyness of my life right now, I have been eating a lot more store-bought snacks. Late night stress sometimes is popcorn and ice cream. So it's been a mixed bag. But typically, you know, I make a lot of food that's nourishing. And I'm taking my vitamins, even though I'm putting that under that card. Okay, what do we get here? The Knight of Cups. So, yeah. This is a good time of year to romanticize your food a little bit and be like, that cozy pumpkin spice whatever. Or that hot bubbling curry. Or an apple crisp or something. Pumpkin pancakes. I think it's a good time for like relishing in the small things and like really sitting down and tasting your food intentionally and intently and all of that the warming spices of this time of year. All right, now we've got hydration. Hydration I've not been doing super great on. What has helped me is to drink tea a lot because it's colder. So drinking tea helps me get enough liquid in, but definitely I struggle with this one. It's easier in the summer when it's hot out, and I want to drink a lot of water. The Chariot. So I need to get my butt in gear and I don't know, let's see. Make some more flavored water, pre-make a couple of like fill some water bottles or something. A habit that needs a little momentum. Medication. Now, I think I've been doing pretty good on this. And I'm feeling balanced and okay with my meds and my vitamins right now. Three of Swords. So, the way I'm looking at this is it has been a challenging lesson to get to where I am at. But maybe there's also something more there I need to do. More checking in that I need to do, making sure that I'm not skipping any kind of appointment I should be having. Making sure that my meds are meeting my needs in a time of high stress in the world and not disassociating and being like, I'm fine, it's totally fine, I'm good. I felt weirdly okay this week. Like my whole family was experiencing a lot of grief this week, and I was a little bit like, am I broken or am I a jerk? But living in a really intense swing state, I kind of wasn't surprised with what happened and was already sort of preparing through my work. So, I don't know. I guess I felt like I handled it okay, but I might want to just keep tabs on that. Okay, movement. This one is so frustrating for me. So, I had a really challenging postpartum recovery. I used to exercise every day, and I really enjoy exercise. My personal favorite is I walk the dog every day, and then I do yoga and Pilates and meditation, and it's just like this whole self-care routine. And then you have a baby and that knocks it all off kilter, which I knew was going to happen. But then I've had to go to physical therapy, and I just had a whole lot of struggles with pain in my recovery. And I'm feeling a whole year later better for the most part. I still deal with some things occasionally, but I just cannot seem to get back into the the routine that I had. Mostly because by the evening time, I'm super worn out from work and baby stuff, and then I just want to chill and zone out, or I want to do something creative. And right now, I'm actually utilizing my lunch break to make this. But I either do this when my kid's asleep or when I have like an efficient situation that I've already eaten and I can take a little bit of time during lunch to do this. Anyway, I'm very curious what card I will get for this one, because I have really been feeling frustrated with movement when before I had such a good routine, and chasing that and chasing my like old body image, you know, all of that kind of like slightly triggering stuff. Okay. The Hanged One. Yeah, I feel kind of like this person, like, I'm just trying to reach, trying to get to the ground so that I can get to my routines that I'm envisioning in my fantasy self in my head. Feel like I'm in this waiting, and what I really need to do is stop waiting and just accept a new perspective and try and make do. Ah, man, I might actually sit down and journal with that later tonight. Oh, Hanged One. Also, this card is so pretty. Look at the color choices in this card. Look at the teals and that like earth tone mustard or orange, and it's just so pretty. Okay. Also, please let me know in the comments if the candle is disruptive with its little like hissing and bubbling, because it's over here crackling away, and I'm not assuming it's really disrupting the microphone, but let me know. Okay, fresh air. Fresh air, I feel like two things. Like, as much as I am able, I have been getting out into fresh air, but I've also been feeling a kind of sadness when I do, because climate change is really impacting where I live right now. We're experiencing a drought, and we've had a week-long wildfire that has been getting closer and closer to our home. I just saw the news this afternoon that it has been contained, and I am so relieved. But going outside and feeling it be way warmer than it should in November, and when usually we used to have snow at this time, and struggling with this drought, and just, it's been a little bit, not as relaxing or offering recovery when I go out for fresh air than it used to be. But when I go out and, you know, take a pause and notice the changing colors of the leaves, or the migration of the birds, or the little things like cute little mushrooms, like, I feel good. So it's hard to be present when sometimes the present is reminding you of things you're worried about. Wheel of Fortune. Wow. And this is the Wheel of the Year in this depiction. It's showing the seasons. It's showing that it goes round and round. I would say we're right about here in the wheel right now. Maybe even here, but we don't have anything like snow yet. But we're definitely on the downswing of fall, autumn. I don't know exactly why, but this card is really comforting for this card, this position. I guess just that, you know, winter will come and then spring will come, and it'll keep going round and round. It gives you a little perspective. The earth will still be here for sure after whatever we do to ourselves happens. All right, next up is socialization. Ooh, I said it that time without stumbling on it. Look at me. Socialization, I have been good, I think, because I was in a period of feeling a little isolated when my child was really young, and just sort of trying to figure out my new world of parenthood. But I have been able, with, you know, just time, to connect and get engaged with a bunch of really fun tarot pals. Shout out to Sarah at Tangy Tarot for like reaching out and being like, hey, let's do tarot things, and for just sharing about like the Sass Witch Discord server and encouraging people to connect. Connection in resistance is important, but connection in your personal life in a way that, like I said, fills you up is so important. So I feel like I was struggling, but I'm on the upswing of that. 10 of Cups. Oh, that's kind of like a nice reinforcement of that feeling. And next up is stimulation. How are you being creatively, mentally, physically, emotionally stimulated in your life? How do I feel I am being about that? I feel like I'm a little overstimulated, to be honest. And that is my issue with too much social media. Okay, let's see what we got here. The Devil. That feels appropriate. The Devil is my card of the year as well. And it's looking in a mirror here, which makes me think of selfies a little bit. My overstimulation coming from overconsumption, social media, the bombardment of capitalism. Like, okay, you want to know what my inbox was this week? After the election, the inbox was, oh my gosh, I'm freaking out. It was a bunch of organizations asking for money. And then it was Christmas shopping, everybody, all of the early sales, buy my toilet paper, buy my new clothes, blah, blah, blah. So that's the kind of overstimulation that the devil makes me think of. So I need to think a little bit about how to release that from my life. Man, and I was doing so good at staying off like Instagram, but I've just, you know how you get sucked back in. I had like months of a nice hiatus there, so I should really go back to that. You're always like, oh, I'll just go on and post this one little thing so people know I made a new tarot video, and then you're like, oh, so-and-so posted a story, let me click on that, and then you're sucked in. And maybe I need to really tidy up my inbox or turn my do not disturb to new settings. Okay, last one. Oh no, did I break this up? I ruined this, didn't I? I messed it up. This one was supposed to be solitude and I chose fresh air. This one was fresh air, everybody. You all were probably screaming at me while I was doing that one. Solitude. Well, let's just use this one as solitude, shall we? This person is soloing, connecting with a flower, vibing. Oh, come on, focus. Having a rest. Oops. Okay. How have I been feeling about, so this one was fresh air, about solitude? Well, mixed bag. I've been grateful for the socialization I've been able to get back in lately. But I also struggle with finding time for myself and balancing time with my partner and me, because it's just go, go, go with a kiddo, and then they go to sleep and you're like, oh. So sometimes I feel like there are days where I'm just like, I don't want anyone to talk to me. I don't want anyone to touch me, bother me. And I think that's, I think what I need to do is think about solitude and overstimulation from the stimulation and how to balance those. But let's see what the card is that I draw for this. 8 of Wands. Feels like things are going fast right now. And this also is a card of communication, which, yeah, with solitude, you need to communicate that need. And when there's a lot of communication coming at you, it can feel really challenging. Yeah, these look really lovely, don't you think? So I hope that you try out this exercise and that it is a little bit helpful. And I'll put in like a timestamp if I can figure out how to do that. So, or maybe just like a minutes to skip to if you don't want to hear my soapbox that was at the beginning. So I'll look for that. But I just like, I just want to encourage you to find connection, to resist, and to not get swept up into virtue signaling or greenwashing or all of that stuff. Like, focus on what you can tangibly change in your area that will have a positive impact and further the progressive ideals that you value. And I'll put that one little graphic up one more time. You know, we will have a lot more people that we'll need to protect. And I'm specifically talking to white people right now. Like, you need to do some research on like what this election might mean and impact on folks that are marginalized by racism and white supremacy in this country, and how you can support them. And that might be with some learning if you're a little bit like, and I don't want to be like shaming anyone for being behind or anything, but it could be learning to get started with, but like we really need action at this point. So the protect bubble might be where you're at. It could be trying to prevent institutions from getting dismantled. Now, I don't fit in this category very well because I don't like a lot of our institutions and I don't want to uphold them. But, you know, like, you don't want the EPA to just deregulate everything. You want to, like, not have more fossil fuel build out. So maybe it's upholding those institutions a little bit if you're more comfortable propping that up than the disrupt category, which is, I think, a little bit more where I fall. But yeah, I'll link the article it's from. And I encourage you to like take a breather, calm your nervous system. And just want to remind you, Black Lives Matter, land back, free Palestine. Take care. Thanks for watching. And join the resistance.